Hello everybody and welcome to WarCrafters for August 18th, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 21. I am Mayor Watt and that is the Sentient AI's visualizer and voice.
Good evening, hometown citizens. Welcome to WarCrafters.
I may change that intro in the future so that everybody just knows, but today we're going to be talking about high-stakes blackjack game, Tiny Archers VR with the Artemis Smart Bow, open-world heist missions, a T-Rex exhibit for 2-Point Universe, dark fantasy RPGs, time loop mystery games, Halloween games with John Carpenter, Bungie bungles name changes, 22,000 players and it doesn't exist, and nerfing magic to make servers relax. That and more. Powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there. There's a channel right here under Creative and Maker called WarCrafters. It's all about first-person shooters, real-time sims, RPG games. Tabletop games is another show that's in the works. But if you're interested in talking about games and basically just having some fun, that's where you're going to go. Come visit ohmtown. See you in a little bit. Ta-da, welcome back. So, if you want to get today's show notes for WarCrafters, you hit !WC and that'll pull up all of the articles for today's show. Not necessarily in the correct order because Omatron is psychotic. But let's get into this. We try to keep every show into an hour. Yesterday, we actually ran a half hour longer because we were having a good discussion. But this first article is over in Reality Hacker. This is the most high stakes blackjack game you'll ever play. I have Balatro and I have Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers, which puts a blackjack centric spin on its formula. Balatro is poker. Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers is blackjack. The article is by Giovanni Calantonio. And I need to pause something real quick. It's actually a blast to play. I suffer from a problem that I get bored after, I don't know. Without the dynamic of ohmtown, I get bored in probably 15 minutes. So the article over at digitaltrends.com says there are tons of card games, but fewer as stressful as blackjack. I don't find it stressful, but okay. It's
I guess it depends on how much money is on the line.
Yeah, but if you get stressed about it, you shouldn't be doing it. Actually, if you get stressed about gambling, you've got a gambling problem.
That's probably an issue. Exactly.
Yeah. And you should seek some assistance for that. Step away from the table. Figure out what it is that's causing you to do this high risk kind of gameplay. But so if you're stressing about it, it's a problem. So it's a game that hinges around high stakes, risk, and reward, where strategy can only get you so far. You're at the mercy of the draw at a certain point. It's hard to imagine that simple premise becoming any more tense, but a new video game accomplishes exactly that. Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers is a new card game out now on Steam. It's actually been around for a little while. At first glance, it seems fairly obvious that the developer Purple Moss Collectors is going for here. It's a Balatro, but for blackjack. The core idea of Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers is simple. It's a roguelike where players have to beat opponents in blackjack games. The basic rules are the same, with players trying to get as close to 21 without going over, but they can stay or they can hit. The most fundamental bit of risk-reward design in perhaps all of games. Which odd turn of phrase, but 21 is basically the goal, except that you can get different cards that modify the performance of that and even extend you beyond 21, or it can cause you to impact the opponent and cause them to go over. You get these special cards essentially, and it's a lot of fun. It says A big 2 card can either be played as a 2 or a 12, while negative cards run the count down. Others are significantly more complex and often very funny. I might as well say the Gerald.
Harold.
The Gerald, but it's the Herald of Rivera. Anyway, card destroys one of the opponent's played cards, all while poking fun at the Witcher. So Charred Lizard looks a lot like Charizard's original Pokemon card. It can either be played as a 10 or sold to the opponent's discard pile for 10 chips. So that's basically the randomization in there. You don't know what you're going to end up with ultimately showing up, but you can select a card when you win. So as long as you know what you're doing, you can stack your deck so that you have a greater chance of winning. I can tell you that I've probably played, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 hands of this, and I have yet to lose. So I don't know if I'm playing...
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I might be playing the toddler version of this, or maybe there's a more difficult ramping up at some point, but I don't think that I've lost one yet. But it's fun. It's pretty chill. I don't get stressed playing this, but you might like it. If you like Balatro, you'll like Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers, particularly if you like 21.
I like the name too. It's a little different.
Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers. So what's really interesting is I keep seeing this pop up. The people from Glass Cannon actually have a stream where they get together to talk about sports betting, fantasy sports, and
I didn't
that's
realize
what they
that.
actually call it. They call it Degenerate Gamblers, because I think that's like a turn of phrase, but I'm not in that. Yeah, I used to play poker, Texas poker, but I don't anymore. And so I just, I don't know, maybe it's flying under my radar now, but I keep seeing that Degenerate Gamblers. I guess you're a degenerate gambler if you're a gambler, regardless of you being a degenerate or not. I don't know. Want to move on?
I think we should.
All right. So the next article is over in Reality Hacker. Tiny Archers VR with an Artemis smart bow left me wanting more. And when somebody says that, wanting more or wanting, I mean,
Right.
when you say,
does that mean more playtime with the bow or something's lacking?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I it's not why I chose this, but that's why I'm pausing here. Like, So let's see what they actually have to say. I'm going to go straight on over to uploadvr.com. And Henry Stockdale over at UploadVR put the article together. And it says, how does archery feel with the Artemis Smart Bow on Quest? We went hands-on with the Tiny Archers VR to find out. Now, what's really interesting about this is the reason why I chose this isn't because of the game, Tiny Archers VR. The reason I chose this is because of the kit. Wonderfitter's Artemis Smart Bow. They say down here at the bottom, for the unfamiliar, Wonderfitter's Artemis Smart Bow is a 10-pound, 52-inch, and that's not right. Hold on a second. There are two versions. One is 48 inches and one is 62 inches. I don't know what this one is. This is like right in between.
That's a little odd.
Because many months ago, I was actually going to buy this because I like archery. And while I could probably throw up a couple of hay bales and start shooting arrows in my mayoral mansion's 40 acres, I'd rather hang out in the basement and fire virtual arrows wherever I damn well please. Actually, I could do this in the middle of the living room because or right here in the office and stream it, which is actually what I was intending to do, because the bow is a real bow, except that the arrow is perpetually knocked inside a cylinder that has a compression spring at the end. So when you let it go, when you let an arrow fly in the VR space, it still captures it. And based on how you pull the arrow back, it notifies the rig how far it goes, and how you are holding the bow is the angle of attack in the game. It's just a brilliant deployment. Right now it's primarily for Quest. It will eventually support the Pico, although some games may or may not right now. I actually paused because it initially was not supporting the Pico 4, and that's what I use. But it is available for the Quest right now, including Tiny Archer's VR. So it says adapts the mobile game for most major VR platforms. As a Lone Ranger atop a tower, you must defend, and I actually own other archery VR games that focus on hand tracking and controller tracking, and not an actual bow. This is a real bow with real weight. You pull back the string.
So it's probably a lot more realistic, right? At least in the physics of it.
Yep, I love it. And so I'm going to be getting one of these, but I'm holding off until I know that it can support my particular rig, because I'm not going to buy a Quest. So it says you must defend the northern kingdom against a 24-day onslaught, protecting various colorful locations and stopping goblins from taking you out. Following an early access launch, it recently entered full release. And although this bow is actually the smaller of the two, they have a higher end. Oh, you know what? This actually might be the smaller.
I think it is, because there are other bows by Wonderfitter.
Yeah, I think this is the ultimate, or not ultimate. This is just the Artemis VR game bow, which is...
And this one is 52 inches, by the way, but the other ones are larger than that.
Yeah, and so this one actually is... I wouldn't have an adult using this one. I would get if you're 12 and older, I would get the bigger bow. It's more realistic. It has the real weight. This one, I don't know. I don't think it really... This is like an entry-level bow. And so they even say it right here, though Pico support is coming this fall for Tiny Archers, but the Pico support is supported with other stuff.
And those that do want this bow, though, it currently is available with a 20% off until August 20th, and it'll be shipped starting August 21st.
Yeah, let me see something here. So yeah, it does come in at $198, according to the site that I'm on, that pre-order. But you can bundle it, and it drops the price down to $158.40. And if you're new to Wonderfitter, when you first go to their site, you can actually get an additional coupon. I don't know if they'll allow it to apply to that, but it's worth a shot. You end up on their mailing list, and periodically you get an email from them. I think I've only received the confirmation email. But it is what it is. So yeah, sorry about that. It is the lighter bow, but it's $100, roughly $100 cheaper. But you're going to grow out of this so fast. You might as well get the bigger bow and have it in perpetuity.
Right, and just use that, exactly.
But they say using the Artemis unlocks a more streamlined arcade mode, which forgoes the hub's extra activities and goes straight to stage selection. Menu options are picked by firing the arrow. The Quest tracks the bow well. Short pressing the Artemis button conveniently switches to special arrows. More on those arrows later. And when you read the article, it's a double press opens the option menu. But basically you're on a tower and you're defending, and it's kind of like a tower defense, but you're the tower.
I mean, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, there's others that are on Steam that are similar to this. I think it's called Elven Defender or something like that.
But are you using a bow with it?
Yeah, but it's not this. It's not the Artemis.
Oh, it's like an in-game.
Yeah, it's a virtual bow, and it catches you reaching behind you to grab an arrow. You knock it, pull the trigger, and it's all virtual, and there's no real resistance. There's no feedback. There's no haptic. I think that Artemis is the future of virtual archery because it's like realistic, it's immersive, and you get that feedback. So I think that this is really amazing. And I should have it in Wanted. I think I actually did have the Artemis in Wanted.
I think we did as well, but it not was, this week.
Yeah, back in February or something. So cool graphics. I think it's a fun game. Based on what I've seen of it, I haven't played it yet because I'm waiting until I get the Artemis, and it probably won't come until later this year because I want it to support the Pico. But it says that Tiny Archers VR is available now on Quest, Pico, Rift, Steam, though Artemis is currently only supported on Quest. And you can order the VR now for $198, but the upper level version is $275 on sale. Okay, moving on.
Very cool.
Next article is over in the WarCrafters channel, Best Open World Games with Heist Missions. Open world games offer a wealth of content, be it sprawling land masses, the plethora of NPCs, or the overall immersive nature of a given setting. Pardon me 1 second.
I would not have thought of an open world game having a heist mission, but then when I see this, I'm going to go, oh, yes, okay, I know that game.
So, yeah, let's take a look. Morgan Wacklete, I guess, or Wackley? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Sorry. Anyway, they have a list of 8 best open world games with heist missions over at GameRant.com. And we're going to run through this really quick. Dishonored.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's
get to the chopper. Death of the Outsider, a standard bank heist with supernatural abilities. I won't read all of these, like the descriptions verbatim. Saints Row, the third. Don't steal from the vault. Steal the vault itself, which is, I think, what was the movie that, like Ocean's 11? They take the whole vault, right? Or Ocean's 12 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was one in that trilogy. I don't remember which one it was.
13, the musical. Ocean's COVID-19, The Shut-In.
Oh.
Number 6 is Fallout Las Vegas, searching for gold in a haunted casino. Thief Simulator, heist after heist. That's basically you go in, you basically break into places and steal stuff and try not to get caught. That actually kind of like a flash popular game on Twitch. Cyberpunk 2077, it says not the smoothest heist. Mafia 3, breaking into the Federal Reserve. Number 2 is Red Dead Redemption 2, classic Wild West heists. And then Grand Theft Auto 5, which is basically...
As soon as I made that comment earlier, I thought, oh, I'm sure Grand Theft Auto will be on here.
From jewelry stores to government agencies. That's all you need to know. There's more in these articles if you want to know about the minutiae of this, but I have found that I get stuck in these lists as I dive into each one of the games. And
yes, and then it could be a whole episode in that alone.
All unto itself. And one of these days I'll do that for the Patreon, but let's keep moving. The next article is over in the WarCrafters channel. Pray the kids don't kick over your priceless T-Rex exhibit in 2 Point Museum, an upcoming new addition to the 2 Point universe. It's always fun to brainstorm what the next game in the 2 Point series might be. Movie studio, city zoo, port authority terminal. Yeah, it's none of those. Following on the success of Hospital and Campus, Sega and 2 Point Studios has unveiled 2 Point Museum, which will enable players to curate and showcase historical exhibits to the delight of semi-feral school kids. Semi-feral. Timmy, stop biting. So the article's by Andy Chalk over at PCGamer.com, and the deck statement says 2 Point Museum promises deeper gameplay and greater customization options than its predecessors, both of which were very good. I have never played, I think I've played a demo of like 2 Point
Of
Hospital.
one of the 2 points. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 2 Point Museum apparently is coming out, or is out. Let me see. We'll do it live. I'm waiting for Luma Island, and that's actually what's on my Steam right now. Hold on. 2 Point Museum. So I'm going to add it to my wish list, but it just says coming soon. But they talk about the first step in running a successful museum is coming up with things to put on display, and to make that happen, you'll dispatch teams of experts to find rare artifacts and bring them back. As your intrepid adventurers continue to explore, they'll unlock locations containing ever rarer finds from throughout history, all of which can be organized and displayed to keep your visitors happy and, more importantly, keep them coming back. Because in the end, it's all about keeping the money flowing. Guided tours, highlight exhibits, a well-stocked gift shop, and ample toilets are all vital to ensuring success. Ta-da.
That's interesting. Is the 2 Point name based on like 2 Point perspective, or we don't know?
I don't know. I find that actually an interesting observation. You want to do this live? Let's do this live.
Okay.
Let's find out. So why is it called 2 Point? 2 Point Studios. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't, like, my quick look, my Google foo is not all that great.
GameDeveloper.com said that they had to think back, and ostensibly it's a reference to 2 Point perspective, drawing style, scene, and architecture where lines converge at 2 vanishing points.
There you go. Because their stuff is isometric. Pretty cool. Except that you can rotate around this and see every perspective, so it's fully rendered. Looks like it's going to be fun. Very high resolution graphics. They are kind of cartoony, but it is what it is. Previous 2 Point games are very good. Hospital and Campus are engaging management sims with a healthy dose of unpredictable silliness, and 2 Point Museum will clearly take a similar approach, but it also promises deeper customization options than its predecessors and expanded gameplay via those artifact expeditions. So, sounds like fun. Be sure to go over and visit PCGamer.com and Andy Chalk, who put this article together. There's more over here, but that's the nuts and bolts of it. Moving on. Next article's over on the WarCrafters channel. Best Dark Fantasy Action RPGs, and they've ranked them over at GameRant. Vlad Mazanko put the article together, and it has highlights. So Dark Fantasy Action RPGs offer vast medieval worlds with mythical creatures, brave heroes, and legendary treasures to uncover. The criteria for ranking best games include dark fantasy setting, engaging combat, and deep leveling systems for unique experiences. Games like Path of Exile, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy 16 provide immersive worlds with challenging gameplay and epic boss battles. So they rank it number 8, Path of Exile, which, unless the other 7 are spectacular,
should that be higher up on the list?
Yeah. Path of Exile is massive in scope. A mastodon in a genre that only Diablo can match. No, I don't think so. They're different in their own right. So Path of Exile has been evolving. There's another Path of Exile coming, Path of Exile 2, that ups its resolution and the size and scope of the game. And you should see they don't have anything on here to exemplify the complexity of the Path of Exile skill chart. Basically, it's like a, look up at the night sky and count all of the stars you see when you're away from, society, right? You're out in the hills away from, big cities and stuff. True dark sky space, right?
And, right. Okay.
And count the stars that you see. And that's how many options you have for the evolution of your character. I mean, it is just amazingly complex.
Interesting. Path of Exile 2, by the way, is still in a coming soon status on Steam.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Everybody is waiting for it. Yet, Path of Exile is still evolving. It's kind of like the RPG. It's the Dungeons and Dragons kind of version of No Man's Sky. It keeps evolving, and people are just get this latest expansion adds like a base building component to it. Anyway, Dragon's Dogma 2 hunt huge monsters in a vast world. Yes, everybody loves Dragon's Dogma 2. It's actually, the graphics are really good. The story is a lot of fun. And it's great to watch, but the game's dynamic combat system allows players to deliver long and spectacular combos, grab and throw smaller enemies and objects, and even climb giant monsters to hit their weak spots. You actually jump onto dragons and stab them in the head. Then Final Fantasy 16 over-the-top boss battles, and that's basically its nom de guerre. That's what it's known for, and it's a massive world. Diablo 4, which, I don't know. Most people that, like, I own Diablo 4. Some people are really into it. Others, like, tried to grind at it and pittered out, like I pittered out.
Well, Path of Exile, though, it said was only matched really by Diablo 4, so I think it's going to be interesting to see what's ahead.
Yeah, because this is 5. Dark Souls 3, an epic conclusion to the Dark Souls saga, and Dark Souls is basically the go-to for, it is
like, probably, is it the original Souls-like or something?
Yeah, it is 3, like Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3 are 3 of the 4 pillars of that genre of gaming. You might as well just say Dark Souls is number 1, but Bloodborne, for those who like their fantasy dark and dreadful. I don't think I've ever played it. Well, I know that I've never played it. I don't think I've ever watched anybody play it either. So I can't really say much about it. Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, it's from 2015. Bloodborne isn't just a typical dark fantasy. It's unmatched blend of Lovecraftian horror themes, Victorian era Gothic environments, and lore that goes deep. Wait.
Well, it's also console based.
Yeah, I've never played this. And again, I don't think I've ever watched anybody play it. But it's from Software, which basically...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They seem to have quite a grip on this genre.
Yeah. And then CD Projekt Red is the Witcher series. So Wild Hunt, from cozy vibes to a dark mood in minutes. True. And it is a fan favorite. So they're the reason why The Witcher became a TV show.
Oh, okay.
Because they just kind of crushed it. And then Elden Ring it's one of the most epic dark fantasy adventures. Yep. Everybody loves Elden Ring. It is a fan favorite on Twitch for sure. And again, from Software. So yeah, they kind of crush it. And I can't really say much about it because I'm really not into these Souls-like games because I hate corpse runs. I would rather run into oncoming traffic than do a corpse run. Don't challenge me. I'll do it. But there you go, folks. Top 8. Go check out the rest of this. There's always more minutia in there. Come and talk to me. School me on your knowledge and experience and some fun banter about dark fantasy action RPGs. Tell me where they're wrong and you're right. It's fun to have a discussion about that kind of stuff. Let's keep moving though. This next article is over on WarCrafters. Rue Valley is a gorgeous time loop mystery and one of the most interesting RPG prospects since Disco Elysium, and that's why I chose this article. The author, it's over at PC Gamer, says, I am yet to grow tired of grabbing my sword and spell tome and setting off on some fantastical RPG adventure, but I still feel relieved when the new RPG drops, or when a new RPG drops, and it offers something different. Rue Valley is a break from epic journeys and goblin slaying, a contemporary RPG set around a desert motel featuring a protagonist who's the product of their personality, not a bunch of ability scores, which... Okay. Fraser Brown over at PCGamer.com put the article together, and the deck statement says, solve a temporal anomaly and yourself.
Oh, this must have layers.
Layers within layers, smothered in secret sauce. It's an enigma. So, developer Emotion Spark Studio and publisher Owlcat Games, known for its massive number-heavy RPGs like Pathfinder and Rogue Trader, had the author right away with their pitch of Disco Elysium meets Groundhog Day. But playing it reveals that for all that it shares with its inspirations, there's just as much that make it distinct. An RPG that's very much doing its own thing. So it looks like the art style is very Disco Elysium, kind of this bird's eye view of the scene with a really steep angle of attack, almost watercolor style graphics.
Yeah, it's very unique looking, I think. I couldn't figure out how to describe it.
And Disco Elysium is definitely that as well. Muted colors and every once in a while there's like a splash of like red or something like that to highlight the fact that a crime had taken place or something like that. So it says within these tracks or traits unlocked after you put a number of your 10 allotted personality points into the system. If you put 2 points into the calculated personality, you unlock the paranoid trait. But if you prefer the second trait in its row, indecisive, you're free to switch them. These traits will then unlock and lock different actions and dialogue options. So as much as that the author said that you're a product of your personality, not points, you're actually a product of points unlocking personality traits.
Right.
So
but it's not just that you're good at
swinging an axe.
Something. Right.
Yeah. So they have this talking it out kind of thing, which is part and parcel to certain genres of role-playing games. You know, D&D doesn't really care if you role-play something out, but if you play Star Wars, you roll dice and it gives you like an advantage or a disadvantage or some contextual basis for you to role-play out your scene. The same thing happens with what is it called? Green. It's a Call of Cthulhu-esque game where you basically argue your way out of situations instead of roll a die. There's several games that are like that.
It's not Green Hell, is it?
No. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, so I'm sure somebody in chat or in the comments over on YouTube will make a comment. But so they say what's immediately obvious even in this nondescript motel room is that Rue Valley is uncommonly striking. It's all hand drawn, from the extremely animated characters to the lighting and shadows. The thick bold lines of Rue Valley's cast constantly move and flicker, calling to mind a more colorful version of the music video for Aha's Take on Me. The stepped animation style, meanwhile, is heavily inspired by the Spider-Verse movies, turning each scene into a living comic book. So this, the little snapshots down here look like it kind of denotes the personality of your character at the given time. But the artwork is very Disco Elysium. The presentation of the dialogue is Disco Elysium. I loved Disco Elysium, and I never played it. All I did was watch people play it, and I love that game. And I don't even want to play it because I know that it's going to ruin my perspective of it because my undiagnosed ADHD is going to kick in and I'm never going to look at the game again. But right now I have the memories of watching these other people, and the whole community is just absolutely enthralled with this game. So if it's anything like that, this is going to be an awesome game. So go and check it out, folks. Pretty cool.
I mean, the artwork and the reputation of the studios might be reason enough to look at it.
Yep. So the author kind of walks through playing the game, but I'm not going to read all of this because it's basically describing the game. But it looks like there's elements where there are little cards that denote environmental data, like something that's represented as part of a story. And you track it in another console, and it's part of this time loop situation. So kind of Groundhog Day. The loop structure gives you a chance to experiment, see results, and then either repeat or avoid the action on the next run. The author really wanted to see what taking the purple pill with the whiskey would do, but because they'd just calmed themselves with the water, they temporarily lost the reckless trait, stopping them from risking their health. So your actions have down chain ramifications. So if you do, I suspect you have the ability to reverse the time loop so that you can actually do other riskier moves to see if you can move the story along in a different way.
Or you just wait for the loop to reappear.
Reset.
Depending on how quickly that happens.
Yeah. So it says, and then the sky turns red. I confirm the time, 8:47 p.m., accept their fate. It's 8 p.m. again. They're in therapy again. They're making progress again, essentially doing it all over again until they figure out how to break out of that section of the time loop and keep moving
Interesting.
forward.
So it's like less than an hour and it repeats.
Apparently. And if you screw up faster, then it resets earlier.
Right. Maybe so.
So the author, like me, sucker for time loops, but Rue Valley is compelling beyond its primary conceit. Unlike most RPGs and adventure games, it wants you to solve people, not epic quests or tricky conundrums. It's not a puzzle unto itself, it's a puzzle within you. That's my words, not theirs, by the way. So it says you'll need to figure yourself out, as well as the people staying at the motel and denizens of the desert beyond it. That's an awesome scene right there. So yeah, pretty cool. And yeah, I can definitely say that it's like Disco Elysium, and that just crushed the storytelling. It was just so awesome. Okay, let's move on. How about 2 Halloween games that are in development and John Carpenter is involved? Compass International, the studio behind Evil Dead the game, is coming back to another famous horror IP for future games. Boss Team Games revealed that... What? That actually hurt my brain. I mean, I had to stop. Anyway, Boss Team Games revealed that it's working on 2 games based on the original horror slasher film from 1978, with one being made in conjunction with writer and director John Carpenter himself. The article is over at digitaltrends.com by Carly Velocci. Yeah. Slasher film
and
Halloween.
There might be some photos in here that are
There's the
good for
comma.
all audiences.
So yeah, they're going to be making 2 games based on the original horror slasher film Halloween from 1978. As a huge gamer myself, I'm thrilled. This is the Carpenter who says, I'm thrilled to help bring Michael Myers to life again in this game, and my hope is to scare you silly. Just look at my paycheck. No, just kidding. Nah, I better not joke like that. Carpenter, who is intimately involved with the production, said the game is also being built inside Unreal Engine 5, so it's going to be superlatively real. I mean, the stuff like World of Warcraft and Unreal Engine is amazing.
Yes. I
So
think anything in Unreal Engine is.
yeah, Nanite I think is what it's called. That just makes everything so rich. The environmentals, just spectacular. Anyway, Halloween franchise producers Compass International Pictures and Further Front are also involved. Further Front sounds like something like a resistance organization in a dystopian future.
It really does. It's an unusual name.
So people who have been following the director, who's been behind some incredible horror movies and TV throughout his career, might know about his gaming habits already. He's been very open about how all he wants to do is play video games and watch basketball, and talking about how adapting Dead Space as a movie might be a cool project. Yeah, that would be a cool project. Go do it. So you can find a lot of these anecdotes from Carpenter online, so it's not a surprise. Let's see. Toxic Commando was announced last year from Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment. It had a 2024 release window, although there haven't been any updates since the initial reveal. Retro Remaster and remake studio Night Dive also announced a remaster of 2002's The Thing this summer, which is one of the greatest movies ever. And that's a Carpenter movie. So, yeah. Boss Team Games has 2 titles already under its belt. The first is Cobra Kai Card Fighter. It's a deck-building fighting game based on the Netflix show, a sequel to the original Karate Kid franchise. And the second is Evil Dead, the game, an asymmetric 4v1 horror game in the style of Dead by Daylight, where one player takes control of a demon to hunt down and kill the other players. Sounds like fun. There is more, and no, there weren't any scary pictures in this. So nice try, AI, trying to get me all spooked. It's not even Halloween yet.
That was more for the viewers.
Listeners too. I need to do like in
That's
the
true.
Sandman,
If we suddenly screamed.
in the Sandman audiobooks, I had fallen asleep. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to the crunching sound and had the displeasure of actually hearing the Sandman describe what was going on. And he was eating eyes. Moving on. Next article's over in WarCrafters.
No comment.
Bungie apologizes for accidentally changing players' names. Will fix... but it'll take some time, they say. Bungie knows there's a lot of Destiny 2 players who had their in-game names changed against their will, but it's not sure when a fix will arrive for everyone. That happened to me in WoW. Several of my old characters have had their names changed.
Which I think is really odd.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's irritating. And why? Why does somebody deserve my name and somebody else has it, right? It's not that I don't have it because it was offensive or whatever. I haven't even been playing the game.
Oh, I thought that's why it was, or the name was too long or something.
I have a character that I think is offensive. I haven't changed the name because I don't play the character. I'm more inclined to delete it. And it's not really offensive. It's just one that somebody might
mildly
find offensive. I mean, I could categorize it as offensive if you really take it to the extreme. But I don't really play the character, and so I'm actually waiting for the War Within to kick off, and then I'm gonna probably binge and purge, because I've got like 12 characters. Anyway, I hardly ever play the game. Anyway, Destiny developer acknowledged concerns in the series of posts on Twitter. Although it's implemented a server-wide fix to ensure no one else is affected, it's unclear when players will be able to change their names back. For now, Bungie simply says that the hiccup impacted a high number of accounts. It is the CrowdStrike on Destiny.
Hopefully AI wasn't involved.
Michael Kripe over at IGN.com put the article together. It says Guardian meet Guardian. We are continuing to investigate options to address player accounts that were impacted. This will take some time as our path forward will be dependent on fixing the underlying issue, i.e., we screwed up. We don't know, do know, maybe know.
We pulled a CrowdStrike.
Let's see. Although Bungie has maintained that it has the power to alter player names if they violate certain rules, many players were met with a notification that says their name was changed because they are either logging in for the first time or have recently changed their Bungie name.
I don't understand why the first time login would change their name.
I don't know either. What does that even matter? Complaints about the issue has flooded the Bungie forums as players scramble to find out why their name was changed and how to fix it. Yeah. And if you push too hard, by the way, this is what happened in WoW. Not with me, but if you push too hard, they'll just say, close the ticket and we're not going to have any more discussion about it.
Right, like we're going to ignore it.
Yeah, which I think is rather abusive, but when they're making, billions or however many millions, they don't really give a shit if they piss off a couple of dozen.
Right. But, well, and then here's going to be a problem because now somebody's going to come by and scoop up somebody's name. So how's that going to work?
Yep. You're going to have to try and, they're going to have to do some due diligence. And when you have, hundreds of thousands of players. So thankfully, Bungie does promise to deliver name change tokens to all players at a later date. No additional information was shared. So if you see a lot of names like Guardian 2804 running around in the near future, now you know why. Are they Guardian 20?
I have a feeling that seemed rather specific.
So Kakish HD posted on Twitter, the Destiny 2 servers are so messed up, they took my name away from me. LMAO. Wow. Oh, yeah, Guardian random number.
Oh, okay. That was very tailored.
Yeah, because everybody's a Guardian. It just happens to be 4708. What? Okay, anyway. So, yeah. They also announced that they're going to let go hundreds of staff last month. It's a decision that had fans questioning the franchise's future as rumors of the company had no plans for Destiny 3 emerged shortly after. Bungie was quick to chime in, saying last week that it remained committed to the franchise and would have more to share soon, just not with the hundreds of employees that were let go last month.
Exactly. I wish the author, if they play this, had some note like, and you can find me in the game under, under this, or something like that.
Airplane. Now arriving at gate 17, gate 18, gate 19, gate 20, gate 25. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Valve's new game racks up 22,000 concurrent players without actually existing because, it shows up in SteamDB. The game is called Deadlock, and they've known about it since the Valve, there was some discussion about it, and it was announced. Kind of fascinating. It says, although the game hasn't officially announced or hasn't been officially announced by the company, although something's certainly going on, it's likely that Valve has opened up the game to play tests to gauge how much they actually need to dedicate to this.
That seems like a lot of people playing if it's not officially going, but maybe not.
Not if they're doing wide area closed beta testing. Why it's showing up in SteamDB, though, it's because somebody didn't light a flag, flick, and now you don't get displayed. A MOBA shooter Deadlock is racing up the charts somehow. Orange Bonk over at Engadget.com put the article together. So Valve's next game, which has yet to be officially announced, had over 16,000 concurrent players over the weekend. As of this writing, that number now sits at 22,400 via SteamDB. This article is from August 13th, though. So let's see. Yeah, they've opened the game up to playtest to gauge how successful a title could be with a proper PR push behind it, as indicated by Eurogamer and others. These numbers are certainly impressive considering, it hasn't been confirmed. Dun dun.
Oh, by the way, it looks like the peak is 44,512.
Which is like right now. No? Is it? Do you know? Can you see the
It
date?
seems to be. It looks like it's climbing, yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah,
that's
like
hilarious.
today, I think.
Oh, that's awesome. So what is Deadlock? It's a competitive MOBA shooter billed as the next Dota by veteran Valve reporter Tyler McVicker. It's reported to have been in development since 2018 and is a partnership with IceFrog, an unnamed creator who was originally behind the original Defense of the Ancients mod for Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos that started all of the Dota mania. By all accounts, Deadlock is already in an advanced state of development, given the robust concurrent player count. So, yeah, peak is 44,000 or something like that, and it's right now.
Right, yeah. It's just going up and up, I guess.
So they say August 13th update at 3:30. The story was updated after publishing with a brief explanation of what Valve's Deadlock playtest entails, the number of concurrent players, etc. The original article stated there were over 16,000 players, but as the AI just described, it looks like there's 45,000. All right. Last article for today's WarCrafters. Need to pull something back up. So sorcerers were doing too much magic for Diablo 4 servers to handle. So Blizzard nerfed their most popular build.
This just kills me.
And sorcerers. A chaotic new sorcerer build in Diablo 4's latest season is so strong it's killing more than demons. The servers, it seems, couldn't handle players filling their screens with lightning bolts and frozen orbs, so Blizzard had to step in yesterday and fix it. This is actually from the 16th, so on the 15th. Thanks to new legendary power in Season 5. I've only played Season 1. I bought... And here's how this went down. I bought the game and the early access, so I paid a premium. And then mayoral duties kept me from playing the game for all 5 days of the early access. So I never got to play any of it, including zero hard mode, so I wasn't even able to try and compete to get into the 1,000, top 1,000. Not that I would have been able to, because I'm too chill.
Yeah, but at least you could have tried to do it.
Yeah, and I was so busy that I didn't even get the pet that I paid for, because to get the pet, even though you pay for it, you have to still do a certain level ramp up. That's how busy I was. So all you out there who got it, congratulations. Anyway, thanks to a new legendary power in Season 5, sorcerers can now zap monsters for loads of damage and their lightning spear skill. But you need the unique fractured winterglass amulet to summon a bunch of them at once. So every time you cast a frozen orb with the amulet on, it can spawn something that basically bumps your skills. So Tyler Culp over at PCGamer.com put the article together. Deck statement says, while it may be a shock for some players, the build is still extremely strong.
I'd say electrifying or something.
I got a real charge out of that. Dad, you're drunk. But the amount of spells flying around cause the servers to lag and crash in some cases, especially for high-end players like Akuna, who achieved the world record for finishing the hardest dungeon in the game less than 24 hours before Blizzard nerfed the build. So...
I mean, we can't have anything succeeding. We want to get rid of that. But also, didn't they test this?
Like I keep saying, you build a better mousetrap and smarter mice show up. So you're going to get people that push the limit because they figure out some way to, maximize the effort. And it's part of the game. So what they should have done was modify the mechanic so it wasn't doing so much wear and tear on the server, but still allow what is part and parcel.
Exactly.
unless it was a fundamentally flawed mechanic, i.e. the math was wrong, and so it needed to be nerfed to be properly balanced. Otherwise, you're just kicking everybody's ass. I mean, oh, I cussed. I'm sorry. I gotta put the E on this episode now, I guess. Golly. That can't be right. Anyway, Blizzard has previously pledged not to nerf overperforming builds in the middle of a season unless they're causing technical issues. Fair enough. The author thinks that it qualifies. Yeah. No. It caused technical issues because they didn't account for the increase in activity.
I mean, and that pledge to me sounds like they could always nerf things.
Right. Well, it has technical issues, so we're going to nerf it. You paid for that weapon, we're going to nerf it. Well, what the hell? But you're not supposed to have pay to win stuff. But anyway. So in fact, it's a buff that closes the gap between the builds, devastating AoE damage, and mediocre boss damage, saving you from having to watch a health bar slowly trickle down at the end of every dungeon. So, I don't know. I think that they should have... They say, I also think its solution is a smart way to fix a serious issue without gutting the build for most people. They nerfed what was a mechanic that wasn't really a problem if it's the other stuff that's causing it, not just the
right.
Optimize the
it seems like they could have solved it.
Yeah, add the two conditions so that it's not individual processes. I don't know. There had to have been ways to resolve this, but anyway. Yeah, you work hard towards getting something somewhere, and then somebody decides that they don't like it, so they nerf it. That's it. Anyway, we're going to cast Shock and Awe back to the front page of WarCrafters over on ohmtown.com. Join us. Come to the WarCrafters side. I'm Merwatt. That's the Sentient AI's visualizer and their voice.
Good night, Hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for WarCrafters. We'll have another episode next week. What? Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting who?
See you, everybody. Oh, no. Oh, no. Something crashed. We can't end the show.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, folks. Well, we're going to be here all year. Okay, I can do it differently. See you in a little bit, everybody. We're gonna have to reset for the next show, and that's going to be Tech Today, which is a deeper dive into technology. Maybe. Depends if my brain can wrap itself around this stuff right now. It's been an interesting day. See you in a little bit. Oh, I'm serious. My Stream Deck just broke. Bye, everybody.